Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I've wasted too much energy for so little result.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
This is no time for self-pity. It is the last thing our patients need.
It's safer here than anywhere else in the East End.
If Pembroke is still standing after this epidemic, there's good reason to be proud.
last summer's epidemic was difficult. Another night of the glorious battalion of Vampyr.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Another night.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since...
It sounds like things have been a...
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient.
You left an infected patient outside.
Go there yourself if you want, but be...
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
Goodbye, Milton.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Vampyr.
Horrific liars.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller...
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember.
He was also very confident about...
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more, unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
What can you tell me about...
Some are really good, and others are not.
Tell me more about Cherished.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn...
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve.
Ah, yes, the burden of command.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator.
What is the Pembroke Hospital?
This hospital is not exactly the best of London.
It's more than enough. In any case...
Don't be misled by appearance.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Reads me like a book. I'm so tired, Farmer.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the
Carelessness?
We're here to save lives.
I don't intend to run any radical...
Modern medical methods were created through
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already...
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money? Fame? Or are you
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men.
I don't see any reason why I should justify my actions to you.
That's true, Dr. Reed. The only judge has to be yourself. The question is, are you judging yourself hard enough?
It seems you have bad memory.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter.
We can at least agree on something.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed.
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about the doctors who...
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Are you satisfied?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured.
I won't lie to you about it.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed?
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about me.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed.
I was more curious about what you would...
I'm a carpenter. And a good one, too.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody... It's locked. So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Giant more.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal?
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a...
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here.
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies.
Who are these enemies you meant?
I cannot say for sure.
The staff here are not your enemy.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are...
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require?
I'm curious to know who you were before...
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, sir.
Unless you're here to fix my face. No.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently...
You guessed right, Doctor.
How is your stay with...
Oh, it's bliss.
Can I ask you precisely...
It's the pain, sir.
Who is treating you?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry.
Can I do anything?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills.
How close are you to Miss Hawcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to...
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt...
She's quite harmless, I can assure.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed?
In her madness, she never refers to my scars.
So do you let her bite you?
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to...
Where were you stationed, sir?
I really don't want to...
No offense.
You were an officer, weren't you?
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Time has lost its effect.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton.
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite.
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender?
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise?
What is the general situation?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers trade union.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been...
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
How did you end up in
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This miss...
You dared to enter this awful place alone.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton?
I feel exhausted.
You're in good hands here.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is...
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and...
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross...
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith, willing...
Have you made friends?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke?
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. I cannot enter.
Dear disgust on every street corner.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doc.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I wonder why the Goswicks came here in the first place.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples.
Maybe you're right. But we support.
You do realize you could both get fired?
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many...
Goodbye, Milton.
It's locked, all right. This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. The flower's dying. It needs water. The flower's dying. It needs water. William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. What about my thirst for blood?